Hello and welcome to the Impressive Empress podcast, where I have heartfelt conversations with women leaders who are making this world more beautiful and lovable. Together, we explore stories of courage, resilience, authenticity, and a lot more. The power skills that help us rise and lead from the heart, creating meaningful impact in the society. Each episode is an inner journey, a reminder that leadership begins within. I'm your host, Malati, and I'm so grateful you're here. Before we dive in, please make sure you follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoy our conversations, leaving a rating or review helps us reach more inspiring women like you. Now, let's get going together. Namaskaram, Shraddha. Welcome to the Impressive Empress podcast, where we explore the journeys, the wisdom, and the transformation of women who are shaping the world with courage, insight, and purpose. So today, I'm very thrilled to welcome you, Shraddha Subramanian. You are an award-winning business manifestation and executive leadership coach, India's first intuition expert, an elite victory coach for professional athletes, NLP master practitioner, author and founder of Sparkling Soul and Breakthrough Sports Academy. You're a LinkedIn top voice and have established yourself as a thought leader in the industry. Now, you have impacted over 7,500 lives across 23 countries. And as you have mentioned, you have this unique ability to identify deep rooted subconscious blocks in under 3 minutes. You have been conferred with many prestigious global awards, such as the Global Women Leader from the Women Leadership Congress, and also featured by many renowned publications such as Fortune, The Times of India, Outlook, and many more. Now, beyond your impressive achievements, what makes your story very remarkable is your personal journey. And from national level athlete to becoming an engineer to a cancer survivor, then to become an intuitive leader guiding others to achieve their highest potential. Shraddha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Malti. Means a lot to be a part of this conversation. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. So let's start from the very beginning, Shraddha. Now, all of these years, you have been working as a professional, and before that, like you mentioned, you were an engineer and then an athlete. Let's go back a few years and understand, where was your passion when you began, and how did it switch to kind of wanting to impact the next 5 generations to come?
I think it was 2012, which was the defining year of my life. The seeds for doing the work that I do today were sown in that year, and that was the year when I had cancer. So I believe that that was the turning point, or that was the initiator of my journey of whosoever I am today.
When we have a debilitating disease, it could kind of pull us back a few years. We would start having a lot of questions within us. And but you seem to have emerged with a kind of a transformation. Can you actually talk through us about how this healing through cancer brought about a deepest transformation in your life?
Um, if I take you some years back, like when I was around, I have to take you around 30, 33 years back, when I started my journey in sports when I was 10 years old. So I did professional sports for almost 8 years, playing at the national level. Now, in those 8 years, the physical build and the mental build was right there. That I have always been a happy go lucky person, someone who would have a positive outlook towards life always. So, 2012, when cancer happened to me, the question was that if I have always been physically and mentally fit, then how did I allow something like this to enter my system? And if it has happened, what could be the possible reasons? And now I know the reasons basically why it happened. But those were the times which actually took me to a step back to go deep within, because obviously when something like this happens, you you don't know which direction to go. There are a lot of questions that you have. There is a lot of confusion in life, that okay, everything is going good, you're progressing, things are happening as per whatever you have planned it for. You are career wise, you're growing, everything is like happening the way it is meant to be. And then one such thing takes you to a space where you have never thought that you would arrive. And that piece is where it started to shift for me when, I was helped by my family members, by my colleagues at work. Plus, I was always into self help books. I loved to read, Self help was always one of my favorite subjects to read about, to really talk about. So I think I read a lot during that period. I listened to different aspects, understood why this is, and what's the mind body connection, and how can I go on that healing journey. So all of that came beautifully aligned for my healing. But while I was healing from the disease, what happened was internally there was a switch that was happening. Internally, now there was more of contributing to the other side, contributing to the world with whatever way I can. And that's when this idea that, okay, I am no judge, but if somebody like me who is a happy go lucky person can feel that kind of depth and fear and lot of emotions, what might be happening to people who feel stressed with small, little, or big things? I mean, I am no judge, but yes, there are people who feel that. So the only seed that was sown was, can I do something for people from this aspect, that I had a journey, but now with my journey, can I contribute? And that's where I think the seed for coaching was sown. I obviously didn't knew that I will be in this profession, or I will pick this profession down the line, or I will be doing what I'm doing today. But it was just an intention, I think, that was put forward in those moments, which has turned out to be the person I'm right now.
Thank you for sharing that, Shraddha. It's really very powerful to hear how our toughest challenges can often reveal our deepest strengths. And thank you for taking so many people on a lovely healing journey. We'll talk about it a little later, but I want to talk to you about the lessons that you have learned as an athlete. You were a national level hurdle racer with speed and discipline, uh, everything. But they also require presence and awareness. So, what did running or crossing those hurdles teach you about yourself, your fears, your internal rhythm, generally about knowing yourself, and how are you bringing those learnings to shape your coaching today?
Very beautiful question, Malti. Thanks for asking that. I would say my life is a full circle in this moment. Then I was a hurdle racer, and today I help leaders and business owners to overcome hurdles in their life and business. So I think uh, the correlation is very significant, and it's like a life full circle. And I have many such correlations. It's just not this one, but there are very many. So I feel that, I have come to a full circle of where I started. So the first learning, completely, like, there will be hurdles in life and you have to overcome them. There is no other option, right? So being a hurdle racer, every time now I think of hurdle, I feel that it was meant to be this way, that I choose hurdles as my event or my race in my professional athletics career. And then I transition to be that person who can support people, who can be their accountability partner in their own growth as they overcome their hurdles and challenges. So that was obviously the one. The other one was, whatever it may be, you grow over it. You keep on growing and you grow so much to an extent that the challenges themselves feel small. So obviously, another way of saying that you are jumping over your hurdles, you grow over your hurdles. So you develop yourself, you work on yourself, you understand yourself to a certain level, and keep on understanding yourself. The analogy that's coming to me right now is, become that onion. You keep on peeling the layers of yourself so that you're very close to your own core. And that's where the whole game actually in sports also lies, because the journey of professional sports is like that. Every time you're fearful, you still take that step, you still go do it. And that's the whole transition. I feel that 8 years of my professional sports career had given me so much of this side of me, which I think is the biggest gift of my life.
Absolutely. I also used to be a hurdle racer, but
Wow,
yeah, so I can relate very well to the kind of lessons that you have shared. I mean, it's so amazing how these lessons from the track can be directly implemented in our life and leadership. And
totally,
I
totally.
think whatever we do, there's always lessons to be learned and implemented, and therefore also, shared with so many more people.
Indeed.
But you had a very structured job, but you quit your job and you wanted to kind of, as they call it, move on the path of your calling. That takes a lot of courage, I think. You were employed for a couple of decades, then you wanted to take this leap of faith. What inner conflict did you face when you were deciding, and how did you finally decide that this is the life I'm meant to build?
I think there were obviously a lot of internal conflicts. So basically, coming from a very humble background and then support of the parents, I reached where I reached in the corporate space. But I think after 2012, there was this inner calling, a constant inner calling of being able to support people in their journeys. Like, I always loved what I did in the IT industry. There's no doubt about it. I loved my job. I loved the people around there and all of the growth that I received. So I loved every bit of it, But what I loved more was working with people rather than systems and code. And I think that was becoming clearer starting 2012, that this is the path that I am supposed to take, or this is the path I'm going on. So internally, I started to run some workshops for people while I was working after 2012. 2013, 14, and 15 is where I was already running some workshops. And I think it was becoming more clear while I was running those workshops for senior leaders. People started to book my personal time, they started to discuss their challenges with me. They showed a lot of trust and faith in me. So I will give credit to all those people who were part of this journey of me becoming a coach from an employee to really transition to an entrepreneur. They were all part of the journey. When they trusted me, they shared their challenges with me, and we were able to work out a a solution for them, and it worked as well. Like they used to come back and tell me that this is working, this is now how it is supporting us in our growth. So when that was happening, I was already learning a lot, and I was already finding this intention that I'd set in 2012 to be coming true during the next 3 4 years. And 2017 is where I enrolled in a program. So every year, apart from my professional accomplishments, I would set something for myself to learn. And in 2017, then I set out to really do a course in coaching just to understand that what are the skills required. And it was more from a curiosity perspective. I had still no plans to actually leave the corporate and start something of my own. But when I actually did that course, it felt like I'm already there. I'm already coaching people. All the attributes, all the reflective inquiries that we call in the coaching space is already there in me, and I'm already doing it, and people are finding getting results from it. So that's when 2018, then I thought to take a sabbatical, give myself that space and time to really think over and experience and experiment myself whether I would be more than happy to take this leap of faith, or I still want to go back and be in the corporate journey. So that's where then I finally chose to take a leap of faith in 2018, August 2018. And then I never went back, after my sabbatical, and chose to start my organization, Sparkling Soul, which works with business owners and corporate leaders today.
That's it's very inspiring, Shraddha. It's kind of it takes a lot of courage to listen to an inner whisper, but I think you have very methodically went about and taken your time to transition from the corporate world to become an entrepreneur. Yeah, but here I would like to kind of pause and want to understand you in your own words. So, what is Shraddha Subramaniam today?
I have always believed that my parents gave me name as Shraddha for a reason, and Shraddha means faith. And for me, she is a faith builder in the process of life, in the process of business, for people to be having faith with themselves. So, this is one of the identities I feel that even if I meet someone for a very simple conversation of 2 minutes, how can I help them to build faith in themselves? So that's, I think, that's me. Uh, that's how I would define myself.
That's wonderful to hear. And that also requires, a lot of meticulous practice to build that intuition muscle, to be able to identify what challenges people are facing, what subconscious blocks are there in someone. As an intuition expert, you are now capable of doing that in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, that's less than the time it takes for me to decide what to wear on any given day. But I believe that's a gift that comes from a very profound inner alignment, if I can call it. So, how did you go about building that intuition muscle or that internal channel? But before you answer that, what is intuition?
Intuition for me is your internal navigation system. Like we have a GPS outside that all of us use as an app from going from one place to another. So, intuition for me is that something internally navigating me to where I want to go. So, it is nothing external which tells me that this is how. you should be focusing, doing things. I am always a person who would go inside to check on how do I feel taking this step, or what is the next step for me that is going to make me feel more aligned to my purpose. And that's how I go about it. So it's like helping you navigate. And you rightly said it's inner, it's a muscle built on internal alignment. The more you are internally aligned, the more intuitive you become.
Okay. And did you have to undergo some training, practice, or is it just meditation or some kind of a sadhana that brought you that internal alignment? What is internal
Mm,
alignment?
okay. Internal alignment can be found out in very easy ways. For example, you speak few words, maybe to yourself or to someone else. How does that make you feel after speaking those words is a way to gauge whether you are internally aligned or not. Like, for example, I'm speaking to you right now. It's very peaceful for me to have this conversation, to share about my journey while I'm listening to your side of questions. So, this piece tells me that I am totally aligned in this conversation. There's nothing which is out of place for me. But for example, I would just take an example of the corporate world. Like, you are in an interview, and then the interviewer is asking you a question, and that's not you. Whatever you are answering right now, your energy will speak up to the interviewer, and that's how a lot of interviewers come to know that you are not aligned to what we are wanting to know about you. So so it's a very deeply internal awareness, and anybody and everybody can have it in no time. And the best part of it is, Malti, we are all gifted intuitively. We are all having that natural ability to understand our own intuitive self, what it is trying to tell us. The irony is, because now we are living in a data driven world, we are getting away from ourselves. So the only piece I would suggest, and that's my mission and vision, basically, to help people get intuitively internally aligned to themselves for any decision, any conversation, anything that they put their heart and soul into. So that's the very simple way to actually understand whether you are aligned or not aligned. A simple two words you speak or two statements you speak, how do you feel about speaking up those statements? You will come to know whether it is in my favor or it is not in my favor.
I mean, it's such a fascinating insight to know that everybody is intuitive. It's just a question of understanding and using that power of trusting the unseen. But it's an internal alignment you mentioned. Is it different from the extrasensory power?
See, intuitions, you can also call it the sixth sense, right? So the sensory power that you have is your five senses, and then your intuitive bit is the sixth sense, the instinct that you have. So, of course, the intuitive or the internal alignment is all about having the alignment of those senses. When are we aligned? When we are able to smell, taste, hear, see, right? We know that because the moment, this is one of the basic exercises for anyone to feel calm. You say that, okay, what five things you see, or four things you hear, or three things you feel, right? So it's like, the more you are bringing yourself into the sensory alignment, you are internally aligned. And the more these five senses are aligned, there is a higher chance that you are aligning your sixth sense as well. And that's where your intuitions will start to flow in, because Intuitions don't flow if your energy is in place. What do I mean by that? Your five senses are not in place, then the sixth sense will not be in place. So intuitions won't come unless you are internally aligned.
So, this is actually a question from one of our followers and a very good friend. And she wants to know if the chakras have a role to play in becoming intuitive or more intuitive.
Okay, so see, there are very many elements for you to be energetically aligned. Okay, when I mean internal alignment, I also mean energetic alignment, because your senses are also part of your energy system. And we all know that we are all energy body right here. So it could be any kind of energy work that can bring you into alignment, and of course that can contribute to the intuitive side of your world. So specifically with the chakras, when we talk about chakras, what are those are your energy centers, and it's like the energy flowing from one center to another. We can imagine like seven pools of different heights, and then one to another and another and another. If the flow is maintained, not blocked anywhere, then we say that that alignment of energy is happening. And when there is energy aligned, obviously you are going to be intuitive. So yes, when it's not only about the chakras. In any kind of healing, if you look at it, okay, if people do reiki healing, people do different kinds of healing. It could be access bars, it could be very many kind of healing methods that we have today. The only outcome of all those healing methodologies is to bring you into internal alignment. And the more you are into internal alignment, the more you are intuitive about your own self. Now, I have a signature method through which I help my people to have that energetic alignment, and that method, or that tool that I help them with, is the energy map. That's my signature tool. And in the energy map, what happens is I ask them to do energy tracking for 7 days. And it's very simple that over a period of 24 hours, you can leave the time you sleep, from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. Every 2 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, you decide the frequency where you want to understand and catch your energy. You just mark it as high, very low, and medium. These five indicators. Just to know that how is my energy. And if you track it for 7 long days, you will have your own energy blueprint. Where exactly my energy is getting dissipated, when and where. So these 7 days you mark it, you will be able to realize that what time during the day. So here the time is just a parameter to record your energy. It doesn't hold anything else right there. But you will be able to understand how is my energy, high, low, medium, very high, very low. Once you mark it, you have to ask yourself three questions for every energy point that you have marked, either it is high, very low, medium. You ask these three questions. The first question is, what was your internal dialogue to yourself? What were you speaking to yourself basically during that energy period? What was your conversation? The second is whom you were talking to. And the third one is what was the situation you were in? So, for every energy level that you would mark in the 7 days, if you are able to answer these three questions, you will totally come to know about your energetic blueprint. That who are my energy enhancers, which people are energy enhancers, which people are my energy suckers, right? And the ones with whom I'm okay. What is my conversation around these people? Because that internal conversation is also about around people or situation, right? So I'll be able to understand myself, decode myself in a very easy manner. I don't have to go for so many healing methods or this or that or whatever, because a lot of us are logical people, right? If I ask you today, Malti, sit and do meditation, half of the world, more than half of the world can't meditate. They can't sit in silence. And if they can't sit in silence, what are you telling them to, bring into internal alignment? We can't do that.
We are more and more focused on the outside, and it takes,
Correct.
I mean, what should be very natural to us is now kind of taking a lot of effort to take the
Correct.
path inward.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why this tool, which is very logical, you have to look yourself and just mark it so that everything is in front of you. Like nobody else has to tell you that your this chakra is blocked or your this thing is not working for you, because then the issue of trust comes in. Until I see it, I don't believe it, right? That's how the whole part goes. So that's why I tell my people to just do this energy map. And then when they bring the energy map to me, that's when we start the journey of their internal alignment. When the internal alignment happens, their intuitive self is always ready for their decision making in whatever way they can and whatever way they would like it to be in their areas of life, per se. And that's when we are able to collapse time, because now we are only talking about energy. We are not talking about time. Like, for example, if I set a goal for 5 years, now when I'm talking about how is your energy about that goal today, and if this is your energy, then what kind of energy you expect when you have reached that 5 year goal. Now, if I have these two energy sets with me, one is today, and that is like it will be once I reach that, I think it's very easy to bridge the gap, whatever way it may be. And when it is very easy to bridge the gap, we collapse the time of success. The goal, which was supposed to be finished by 5 years, they're able to do in 2.5, in 2 years. And my people have experienced that, like a 10-year goal I've helped them achieve in a year, and a 5 year in 5 months, like that way. So that's very much possible when you go about working on your energy. And through your energy, when you become intuitive, that plays a huge role in your success. And that's my mission, to help people be intuitive. Yes, data is right there, it's going to be there. We are going to go more deep into data, do a lot of data analysis. Those kind of work will always be there. But that hunch that you have, but that intuitive sense that you have, but it's gonna take you leaps and leaps and leaps forward into the future. Not like when the data says this is your next step, your intuitions will say this is your leap towards the next step. And that's how I see the difference between when we are talking about intuition versus the data aspect of it. So, yeah, I mean, I went all the way long to your question, but I feel, the context was important to be shared. And this is the landscape that I work with, and this is where the outcome that we can expect.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's also very important for probably the audience to know the power of intuition. There was a book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I think it was a
Yes.
bestseller of those times, and I think it's still very popular.
It is still
Um,
very popular, and it still says every word I think of that book is true today.
hmm, yeah, yeah. I think we had it in Bharat, where we were able to immediately tap into, not immediately, through practice, we were able to tap into that power center. But coming back to the question from my friend, um, intuitions are really good to have, but if is it always right to keep following our intuitions all the time? And where do we find the space for others and their opinion? So how do I choose is the question. What is right and what is wrong here?
I think there's no harm in listening to everyone around us, right? Listening in the sense not acting on it, but listening. What are the perspectives? Because perspectives become uh, a part of the wisdom at the end of the day, right? whatever wisdom. Like we listen to different perspectives, not necessarily always the perspectives will be positive or encouraging or expanding. There can be perspectives which will be shrinking, doubting, putting fear. All of that is welcome, I would say. And people can have their own perspectives that they can share with you, but then it's up to you. It's your choice. It must be your choice at the end of the day, where exactly you want to head, where exactly you want to move on and create a lot of difference. So, a very simple example I would give you, that maybe in business there's a protocol that every business owner possibly follows, that every day there will be a ten cold calls, maybe that your salesperson would do, and then possibly some business will be generated, right? But if the person just chooses to call one out of those 10 people, chooses to call, I'm saying, energetically, the person feels that I should reach out to this person, and this person is going to say yes, definitely, and that call is made, that brings that amount of business faster, totally. And very many times when I am speaking to my clients who are business owners and leaders who are in the sales part of the work, I always mention that your first meeting doesn't have to be a casual one. Intentions can be set. I'm not saying that you go and push for business, but when you go with the intention that yes, business has to come, and not with an intention that, okay, this is only the first meeting. It's a difference in your energy, how you show up. And when there is a difference in your energy, how you show up, I think whatever four meetings you were taking for the conversion to happen, those may reduce to two, and in the same amount of work, you can convert another person. So, my piece is, when your energy is right, in the same amount of efforts, you can create double, triple, 10 times results. And that's what I have always believed in, that your intuitive side is so strong that you can bring that result for yourself. So I was telling you about this salesperson thing, right? Doing 10 sales calls versus only one, which brings you that amount. And at the end of the day, the person who was doing 10 sales calls, because his energy was not right, possibly he was not able to attract any of the sales that day. So it's the total game of energy, because we are all energy beings. And that's what I have always believed, that as a person, the more you are aware about your own energy in conversations, in doing your own work, maybe you're sitting in silence with yourself, maybe you're interacting with hundreds of people, it's perfectly okay. But as long as you are aware about your energy, it's going to create a different side of you. It's going to help you be intuitive more and more. And then you will be like that signal catching things which you may not have, which could be the pathways for you to just be that on the fast track journey to bring that success nearer to you. That is the power of intuition.
Yes, I totally agree and understand what you say because I have been using this. But how is this kind of different from manifestations? Setting intentions, like we say, thoughts are very powerful. I do try it sometimes with my kids and husband, it works. It works. But I've heard, in one of the podcasts with Dr. Srimati Kesan, she's an amazing social entrepreneur. She's wonderful. She's taking so many girls to the space. Um, she is a great believer of intentions and manifestations. So, are we talking of two different things here, intuition and manifestation, or are they one and the same? It's just the terminologies are different, or
See, manifestation is a goal that you want to achieve, and intuitions are those creative ideas, those droplets of wisdom. Those will become that pathway towards your manifestation. So you want to manifest something, of course, that is a final goal, right? That is like, I want to manifest this thing in my life. Now, for that manifestation to come true, there are certain steps towards that manifestation to come true, right? So the first step, as we say, is always the intention setting, that okay, this will come true. Now, if I am living that intention on a daily basis, that means I'm following my intuitive guidance as much as possible. And the more I follow my intuitive guidance as much as possible, I am surely going to manifest the things that I'm supposed to manifest. So it's the game of frequencies, it's the game of energy again. Manifestation is again the game of energy and frequency, right? Because whatever you want to manifest, for example, you want to manifest being a rich person, but if you are in the frequency of, maybe, I have challenges, I have wealth challenges, for example. So if I am in that energy, I will never be able to attract that other energy that I want to be, right? The manifestation that I want to have. So it's a game of total game of energy. So what is common here between intuitions and manifestation is the game of energy. The more you are in the right energy space, intuitions are your steps towards manifestations. When your energy is right, you will be guided. Some creative idea will somewhere come for you to become that person who has already manifested. That's how manifestation is, right? You have to become that person. You have to become that person. And that person, becoming that person means what? Having that energy aura, that becoming that energy being who has achieved whatever you're manifesting. So that's like a step. So in business, I actually help people in this way only. If you look at it from a business standpoint, what people say is logic. So I have this goal, I want to achieve this revenue number. The first question what will they ask is, how do I go and achieve this number, right? That's how every person who wants to achieve a goal will talk about. But how do I go about it is, I would first ask why you want to achieve this number. That's very important. That's the space how we go into the manifestation, and why I want this goal to be achieved. Then the second question is, who do I have to become for this goal to be manifested? So we are not moving a step ahead. We are not going with how do I go about it. We are saying why. So basically, putting the strong foundation. On that strong foundation, I'm becoming a tower, becoming that who has achieved that goal, or who I have to become to live that goal, right? That way. And then from here, I take the aerial route. So when I'm taking the aerial route, my I can reach that goal in a faster manner, right? So I don't, if I'm walking on the road with the how, it's going to take time because there will be a lot of diversions, speed breakers. Sometimes I'll miss my goal. The time period is increasing. Time to reach that pace is increasing because there are a lot of challenges in between. But if I do why, who, and then what do I need to do? So I take the aerial route. I can bring that goal here, and I can take that aerial route now because then I've already sorted all the challenges in advance. So that's where it is related to manifestation, and energy and intuitions play a role in manifestation. That's why I always speak of a role of intuitions in business. Very, very important. Very important. Your strategies don't work unless you work. Your inner alignment has to be in place for your goals to work, because people copy strategy, right, Malti? Sometimes, this strategy work for this organization. I have a similar organization, same product, similar product. I copy the strategy and it should work. But it doesn't work for a lot of people because business owners are different. Different people, different set of energy. And when it operates from that strategy operating from different set of energy, the outcomes are going to be different. So that's where we have to play the game of energy at a very different level, become aligned, use your intuitive power, and then whatever you want to create, it's right there available for you.
Beautifully explained there, Shraddha. I mean, my guru would always say, give an example of the kitchen. That's something that I think everybody can relate to. So when you mentioned the strategy that's being copied from one to the other, I would always ask people, like, you give the same recipe, you give the same ingredients, you create a similar environment. Two people cooking together will produce two different results, because I think it's lovely. I mean, it was explained so beautifully by you. It's all because of the intuition, the energy, and the intentions there. I think that makes a huge difference. But in my mother tongue, Tamil, we say kaimanam. So I know you come from Pune, but I suppose you understand that. So it's all the differences in the hands that cook with the heart, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Now, moving on, I mean, I wanted to dwell a little bit on intuition because it's a subject that is very close to my heart,
Right.
and it's a subject that I think can really help people not just improve their own lives, but I think it can help the world become a better place. And I therefore invite more and more people to kind of talk to Shraddha. I think the first intuition expert, I will connect with you later on. I want to come to your
Sure.
the books, the Circle of Perspectives that you have
Okay.
authored. It talks about shifting our inner narratives. I really like the fact that you mentioned that everybody has this potential to tap into their intuitive energies and therefore become leaders themselves. It busts that myth that leaders are born. No, leaders can be made. I think I also believe in that philosophy, and I invite everyone to read about the Circle of Perspectives because, like you rightly mentioned, perspectives that we collect through our experiences can become the wisdom that would definitely help us way better in improving ourselves in all aspects of our lives. I want to quickly move to the feminine aspect of all this, where you have mentioned that you rediscovered your feminine energy. So you have lived in the corporate world or in environments that reward hustle or logic that you mentioned and performance. But when you kind of got back, or let's say recognized and reclaimed your feminine energy, the soft skills or the surrender or that receptivity that I mean, there must have been moments when you realized that is your true source of power. So what inner story shifted for you at that moment?
I think I would again go back to my days of sports because there's a lot of action. If you look at my life was action packed till the moment I chose to really move out of the corporate space. And I would say that the feminine side was not active. It was active when I was creating programs, I was connecting with people, helping them out, at work also. Because there was always this creative side of me was very much prevalent, I would say. But at the same time, I found myself more as an action person, the person who would always believe in doing things rather than being that. There's this, each one of us has that masculine and feminine side of the world, but I believe I was always carrying the masculine side more because I felt um, that this is how the world works. That's, I think, it's very natural for all of us to have and live like that. Not like only women have to connect to their feminine aspects. I think men also need to connect with their feminine aspects. Vice versa is true. So it's not like being a woman, how I conducted myself more as a doing the masculine side of it. Uh, it was very natural because all of us have been doing it for so many years. But when I started this journey of entrepreneurship, when I every day started to show up for myself, is to where am I headed? What is my path? Now I have taken this step of moving out of the corporate, and this is what I want to do. But the again the question was, how do I want to do it? And from that how, then I switched to who. Like I mentioned exactly the same thing to you in the just 2 minutes back when we were talking about every person feels like, how do I do this? But I like, who do I have to become? And slowly, steadily, I realized that when I take a step back from doing and when I stay in my energy and power, I attract people to me. So today, all my business that I do is coming from the space of people reaching out to me rather than me reaching out to people. And that's the shift I feel and I sense and I truly believe. Connecting to your feminine side, in my case, has actually helped me a lot rather than going behind stuff, taking those steps all the time. When I have stood in my power and I have rested myself, I have worked from my calm, my creativity, I think it has produced much better results for me than wanting to do a lot rather than sitting in pause. So this shift and transition came as and when more um, after I lost both my parents. It started to show up more from a space of grief first, and then from that grief to become that little child, to really, allowing myself to be that vulnerable, to feel everything that possibly I had stopped myself feeling over the years, playing that, having that wall. Especially after 2012, there was, I think, a wall where I had felt a lot, but maybe I had not expressed it all because I felt people around me would be troubled if I share my challenges of that phase. So I always kept a wall saying that everything is okay, fine, there's nothing to talk and discuss about it. And I just kept on, I would say, feeding the wall for a very long time, just so that people around me should feel comfortable. And this happened till 2019, 2020, when I lost my both the parents back to back. And after I think I lost them, the wall suddenly broke totally, like, just like in the form of grief, it started to flow. And I suddenly realized that I was keeping the masculine side up so much, being like, okay, everything is fine, there's nothing wrong, like, you know and then I started to connect with myself, saying that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay if I'm feeling, I'm feeling what I'm feeling. I have to sit with it rather than wanting to just neglect it, push it down the drain, you know. Rather, I would feel it, process it, sit with it till the time it gives me that wisdom, and then I have like totally shed it across, and I'm not going to look at it again, kind of a thing. So I think post 2019, 2020 is where I started to realize and started to connect with my own self from a feminine aspect that, yes, I don't have to be a strong, showing strong. I am a strong woman, but of course, I'm a strong woman, daughter of a strong lady. So, but then I have this power also to allow myself to break down, sit in that breakdown, and while sitting in that breakdown, while I don't have any clue of what's beyond this breakdown, I am still okay to sit in it. That kind of courage, possibly, that feminine courage, that yes, I'm going to allow that to happen. Maybe you can imagine a metaphor as like a small earthen pot. I allowed it to break down totally so that it breaks into pieces. Possibly earlier, I was putting a lot of tapes on it. I was trying to protect it from the leakages, feeling that this is the wall I have to maintain somehow. But in that, I was losing myself because there was a lot of energy leak, right? You can't contain the
Mm,
water if it is leaking, right? Somewhere the capacity goes down of that earthen pot. So energetic capacity goes down when you are putting tapes and sticking it unnecessarily. Rather, you allow it to break so that you can make a bigger pot out of it. That's your bigger energetic container. So now, over the last 3, 4, 5 years, I allow myself to break and totally break whatever may be the case. And from that, to rebuild myself. And it is a process, and it happens every 3, 6 months to me. And every time it happens, now I'm able to allow myself to do that. And that makes a huge amount of difference. That brings that feminine me alive more. She stands in her own power. And from that, when I operate, I think it's a very, very different kind of whatever I do from that space. It's a different action altogether. So, yeah, I know I took a long journey, but I think that's what I wanted to highlight, that um, the feminine energy part has played a huge role for me in allowing to be vulnerable, to break down, not protecting myself from the breakdown. Like all of us fear that, right? If I break down, what will happen? If everything goes down, like what will happen? There is a facade all of us put forward to the world that everything is amazing, all of it is great, right? But I think I am okay to put that foot down and sit with myself. And I give another metaphor to it. It's like sitting in a washing machine with the highest tumble speed possible. And you don't know what's going to happen, but you're still okay to sit in that washing machine with the highest tumble speed, because that will only take out what is not required in you anymore. You will still remain intact, like the clothes. You just takes
yeah,
out all the water from it. So like if you sit in a washing machine, it will just gonna take out whatever is not required for your next journey, for your next 5 years, 10 years, 6 months, whatever it is. But that's where the whole shift that comes in.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole aspect, whole journey of being in touch with your feminine power.
Absolutely. That was so beautifully shared, Shraddha. I mean, this washing machine example kind of sums it all up. At the highest RPM, it kind of squeezes everything out of it, but then it's kind of ready earlier to be
It's
used
liberating, I
once
would
done.
say, because once
Yes,
everything squeezes out, like nothing stays with you that you feel attached to, or you are supposed to be attached to, you are a different person totally. And it's
absolutely.
liberating because
Yeah,
now there's no
absolutely.
attachment that you can live with totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, worth embracing the feminine. It doesn't weaken the women, definitely not even the men, of course. I think it kind of amplifies us multifold. And I think we all owe our thanks to Brene Brown, where she
Yeah,
said
yeah,
vulnerability
definitely.
is power. I think she has done amazing
Totally.
research on that subject, and a lot of people are now embracing vulnerability. And this is something very natural for the woman. I think we should embrace it more
Yeah, and we should
often
stay with that,
to.
like, because I'm sure a lot of women are going to take guidance from the conversation that we are doing. And I would really want to mention that, no matter the world wants you to be a doer, but you know it, and own your life, your chapter of life, your moment of life, the way you would want it to be. It will be hard initially. It was hard for me to allow myself to break down fully, but the moment you know that there is certainly another side to it. That is certain. What side it will be, how that side will show up, I don't have any clue when I sit in that washing machine, but there is certainly another side to it. And we as women have so much of power, so much of power, that irrespective of the fact that we are vulnerable, we can still make things, mend things, make them better. And immense intuitive power as women we have, totally. So it is just that the readiness to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, the readiness um, to be broken in case it requires you to be broken, and then allowing it to reshape is one of the important ways I feel women need to adapt in the leadership journey as well. In any journey you are possibly, especially especially when you feel alone on that journey, I would say it's very important.
It's, I mean, vulnerability is something I would say that would enliven a person even more today than
Yeah.
before. I would like to move on to this topic of energy versus logic. You know, a lot of decisions, like you very rightly mentioned, there's a lot of data coming in now with so much more data that each one of us is producing. And therefore, we do a data analysis, we tend to take decisions based on logic and things like that. But here you are as an international intuition expert who's touching the lives or who's already impacted the lives of about 7,500 people across 23 countries with 20 years of leadership. You have seen breakthroughs that strategy alone cannot create. Can you maybe share a personal moment where this energy center or the intuitive shift moved your life or business faster, exponentially faster than any logical plan?
The way my business grew in a very short span of time, it itself is an example. And today I teach that to people. Like, I have my masterclass that I do, and I have this whole coaching program around the whole energy system that through which I scaled my business. So I have the signature jackpot method, which I take business owners through. And in that, the first three pillars are all internal alignment pillars. Only the last one is something that you go and do outside. So the first pillar is about the unreasonable revenue goal. So I say that, okay, if you want to earn X amount, let's say your unreasonable revenue goal is 10x or 100x, whatever, it should be unreasonable. That I don't know whether I'm going to able to achieve that, and I want it to be that much that you start to feel that Shraddha, I can't achieve it. So that's the first pillar, your jackpot number. So the method is the jackpot method. The first pillar is the jackpot number. The second pillar is the jackpot alignment, which has two parts. First part is identifying your jackpot block and then bringing that alignment. And that's where the whole forte, my forte of being an intuition expert, being an intuitive coach comes into place, because this is the place where every game lies. So then I say, okay, what is the block? If I say, okay, 10x now, today, what is the block? Because there will be blocks showing up for you. Because when I say 10x, you'll be like, this is not possible. Then I ask, why is it not possible? There will be 100 reasons that this is not possible. Now, for all those 100 reasons, when those are out, then we go into alignment that, okay, this seems impossible today. How do we move from impossible to possible internally? We are not working, we have not stepped out at all. The rubber has not met the road. We are just sitting and planning for the trip as of now. So this is where the whole energy shift, energetic alignment comes into place. The jackpot alignment happens that yes, this number can happen. I have my own techniques to help people coming into the alignment. Once that happens, the third pillar is the jackpot magnet. Now you know that 10x number your current clients can't give you. You need to reach out to the premium clients. Premium clients have to come to you for this number to happen. But when you know that this number is mine after the alignment, you will start to receive those premium clients, and that's what happens in my case. People have reached out to me irrespective that they have never worked with me. They have They have seen me, but they have not worked with me, or they don't have a middle connection as a referral that, okay, go work with Shraddha. But when they have spoken to me and I've given them that these are your blocks, this is where you are stuck, they have reached out and worked with me with a lot of ease because my energy said that my business can create 10x in a shortest time period possible. That's how you become the jackpot magnet, where you start to attract premium clients. Your income orbit starts to become expensive. And here, what I say is, if you leave a cow on a golf course, okay, and she's tied with a peg, now she can only graze till the circumference of the circle depending on the length of the rope. Very simple way if you look at it. That is how the business owners are also working, the leaders are also working, that they are tied with a peg, so they can't move beyond the income orbit that they are into currently. Initially it will not feel tightened, but as and when they are moving towards the circumference, they'll start to feel some pull that I am putting all my effort, but I'm not able to increase my revenue at that level. I'm putting all my effort, but my leadership is not going to, it's not expanding. My role is being just like shrinking. It's not expanding, so it's shrinking. Now I have a forte of identifying that peg. That's the subconscious block that we are talking about in 3 minutes of time. When I help them to remove that peg, and if I imagine the cow taken away that peg, now the golf course is open for her to graze. That kind of expansion is available once that subconscious block is being taken away from you. So that is like you are able to now shift the income orbit, attract the premium clients, because the people are right there. In your leadership, also, you have roles right there. In your business, also, you have clients right there. But till this moment, you will not be able to see them, as if you have this curtain in front of your eyes. You may not be able to creatively attract them because you have always felt that those people are out of my reach. But the moment there is alignment that yes, this number is possible, whatever has to happen for that number to come to you will start to happen. Those clients will start to come into your zone. That's what we call it as jackpot magnet. You start to attract those opportunities in your life for you to see that life as golf course, in the leadership, in the business, both the worlds. And the final pillar is the jackpot rhythm. Now, the rhythm is all about inspired actions. I don't believe in haphazard actions that, okay, every day you pick up 10 phone calls, you do, and all of that. Inspired actions is if a premium client, premium prospect reaches out to you, would you waste time in feeling that today I'm not feeling good, let me call you tomorrow? If you are aligned to that number, if you knew that this is going to happen, and if it is happening, would you wait? You won't wait. You will be ready to take that action, right? So that's what is inspired action for me. And that's what is the jackpot rhythm. So rhythm is where actually you go out and take that action, that step. And the rest of the three steps are for your internal alignment to happen, energetic and intuitive alignment for your business, your leadership to grow manifold. And as I said, I have given you all the examples already, that 10 years of journey in 1 year. I mean, very many examples like that can happen. And that's why I believe that your subconscious blocks, if we work on those, you have a golf course open for yourself. And that's the power of energetic alignment and intuitive work. That's where the whole landscape comes into picture for
Uh, I think it can be a game changer. I think you have so beautifully explained with the cow and the peg and the golf course with your jackpot signature program. I think it really highlights how energy and intuition can accelerate our growth, be it personal or business growth. So we all should work on getting that peg out and improve ourselves.
totally, totally. I mean, it's a game changer for sure, and that's my mission. And thank you for having this conversation, because as it is reaching the other people, I'm sure there is some value add that's going to happen to people to really explore the energy and intuitive path.
Definitely. I mean, that's the basic idea of this podcast is to kind of use it like a, I mean, you spoke about self-help books. This is like a self-help podcast that is aimed at one's own improvement or personal growth, so to say. I mean, of course, you are doing an amazing work on so many fronts, like, the shadow mastery and with your wellness center for cancer patients and all of that. Due to paucity of time, I think we'll have to have another podcast on all of those things. But I want to talk to you about your vision for the future. So, as a global leader, as a global intuitive leader, and a mentor to many CEOs and many top athletes, what do you see as the next evolution for leadership where, intuition, energy, feminine wisdom become essential in creating a sustainable growth?
The first bit that I see is more from collaboration. So rather than competition, when we go to collaborate with each other and coming from a space where we use each other's strengths rather than competing against each other is one of the definite ways to move forward as a vision that I would like to create and see in the world, because there is enough for everyone, there is more than enough for everyone. I mean, I come from that space that yes, we don't have to fight for the pie in the market, or there's nothing of that sort that exists. It is just that we are creating those roles and jobs for people to do this kind of a work. But I think if they transition to better kind of roles that they can play through their these trends of analysis, I think a lot of intuitive analysis can be done on people, and a lot of uh, the world can be much better in that sense. Someone had asked me very long back that if you feel people get a superpower, what would it be? And I would want to re-mention it here because I feel that's the vision I have, is like everyone have that their own intuitive powers and they align to it so much so that the conversations are more sharper, not in terms of cutting the other person, but in terms of elevating each other so much that we are on a fast track growth as a world, totally. And that's the vision I have, to be honest, that growth is a natural process. If you don't feed a child, the child will still grow, right? So growth is a natural process, and we just have to be out of the way for us to grow. That is my vision. And when I say that, I mean we have to allow our logic to go out of the, out of us, for us to come into the internal alignment and navigate through our internal navigation system is what is my vision for all of us. Yeah.
Lovely. I think that's a vision that I would encourage every listener to write on their mirror or maybe, tattoo somewhere subtle so none of us ever forget that. That's I think it's really required that we align ourselves internally because like you rightly mentioned, we don't have to fight for the small pie on the cake because I think it's very clear that we are all born to do our role. We don't have to do anybody else's role. And this intuitive analysis and internal alignment is definitely going to help us find ourselves and achieve exponential growth. Um, Shraddha, I want to move now to some rapid fire questions where we have, it's going to be really short and sweet and would be a great way to end this wonderful conversation. Are you ready?
Sure. Sure, ready.
What's one daily ritual you never skip, no matter how busy you are?
Praying in the morning.
A personality trait that you consider your biggest strength?
I think it will be many, because being intuitive is going to be definitely the one I would go with.
A sign from the universe you trust instantly.
That's the flash that I get, intuitive flash. I would trust it totally as a sign.
One leadership principle that you live by that's absolutely non negotiable.
Inclusive, being inclusive, always.
One leadership myth you'd love to break forever.
You don't need to know all the answers. You just have to show up and ask for it. I'm saying your team knows it all.
What's the fastest way for leaders to shift from overwhelm to clarity?
As I said, just sit with your team and be vulnerable. So, vulnerability is the fastest way for leaders to shift from overwhelm to clarity.
A question you ask yourself before making any major decision.
Is it aligned to my larger vision, or rather, I would say, I would surrender that decision and whatever comes up, I would go with that.
Hmm, beautiful. What's your personal definition of success?
Being peaceful in this moment, like having a joyous conversation, laughing out loud, I think that's success.
A power skill you believe every woman should cultivate.
Setting boundaries, very important.
And lastly, one thing you want every woman to remember about speed and transformation.
You don't have to acquire speed to transform. The pace at which you move is the best pace for you. So don't compare yourself. Don't compare that this person is moving at this speed and I am slow. No, I will give you an example. Two cars going from one point to another, point A to point B. Sometimes the car A will be faster, sometimes the car B will be faster. You may both reach at the end point at the same time. So today you may be the car who is slower, but at the next signal you're going to pick up and move at your own pace. So don't worry, just keep moving. That's the most important thing.
Great. Thank you for those lovely closing words on speed and transformation. Thank you, Shraddha, for sharing your journey with such depth, courage, and authenticity. From intuition to feminine energy to energy alignment, your personal growth journey shows us that real transformation always begins from within. And for every woman listening today, please embrace your inner compass, trust your energy, and create exponential growth in your life and leadership. Thank you so much for being here, Shraddha.
Thank you so much, Malti. I think I totally enjoyed this conversation. And I'm sure each one of you who are watching this, I believe there was some value add that we could make to our conversation today. So, wishing you all the best, and wherever you are, that's the best place to be. Always remember that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shraddha, once again.
I really appreciate you taking that effort and bringing things for people to actually work upon themselves. It really means a lot to be on this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shraddha.